Hi guys, I hope you are fine. Today we're going to have one more tutorial, and what we're going to do is that we're going to divide our tutorial into parts. That means if you watch the first part, you need to watch the second part in order for you to complete like the whole tutorial. So our tutorial for today is based on the goods market framework, and here we're going to derive some sort of output and explain the relationship between production and income and so on and so forth. So let's see how does our tutorial look like. One, suppose autonomous consumption increases. Explain using the appropriate graph what the impact will be on equilibrium income and demand. Okay, since you can see here we have some sort of a relationship between equilibrium income and demand. All right, the reason why we have this relationship is that we assume, first of all, that demand depends on autonomous spending. All right, and it depends also on income. All right, so if it depends on autonomous spending and income, we will have some sort of relationship. Okay, and thus the relationship between demand and income is basically drawn has one of those variables, all right, whereby we will have some sort of income or production, and we will have some sort of spending or autonomous spending. And the equilibrium income is going to be whereby autonomous spending and production basically they intersect, right? So let's see how does it look like in terms of the graph. Very good. This is the graph, is the appropriate graph to show it. As you can see, here we have our equilibrium income in a point whereby maybe I can just write here point A to show that this is the equilibrium point. It's a point whereby production, which is Y, and consumption, or we can just call it as autonomous spending. Both of them they intersect, you know. So here we have some sort of Y here. This Y stands for production, and this Y stands for the big Y stands for income level, right? So here we have two Y's, but then I just wrote it like small y and big Y just for the sake of differentiating them, right? Otherwise, we would have written, let's say, Z to mean demand or something else like that. Okay, so our question says, what happens to income and demand or production if we have an increase in autonomous consumption? Anything that is going to happen to autonomous spending is going to yield some sort of result, or is going to affect demand, and it's going to affect also our income level. So as we can see, if it says an increase in autonomous income, it suggests that we will have to shift our income curve upward. I will just write it here. All right. It shifts upward, and we can have here new equilibrium income. All right. So in other words, we can say equilibrium income and demand or production, it basically increases due to an increase in autonomous consumption. Here I can just write Y1. Here I will also write Y1. And I will show here that we have some sort of an increase due to this increase. All right. Very good. This is due to this increase. Maybe I can just show here. I can just show here. I can just show here. I can also, just to let it to make it complete, can show here. I can also show here. Oh, there we go. And very good. This is what basically happens if we have an increase in one of these factors, right, that affect basically our income level or production. So we will have an increase in our income level, and we will have an increase in our production. Okay, the reason why we have a direct relationship between income and production is that for us to produce, for the producers to produce, they need like some sort of level of income. Okay, in other words, if our income, like the national income, is increasing, this um, is going to increase the buying power of people, like people who are consuming. If people that are consuming, the buying power is like the purchasing power part. Let me put it this way, is increasing. Basically, what's going to happen is that they are going to buy more and more products. If they buy like as much products as possible, this is going to give some sort of income or revenues for the sellers or for the producers or for the suppliers, for them to produce more goods and services, and so on and so forth. This is the reason why we have this direct relationship between income level and production. Okay, let's move on and see question 2. It says, how can the government increase production using government spending and taxation? I'll just write it here. Question 2, how to increase production using G and T. Okay, something interesting is that we know that in the goods market, or in the, let's say, income level identity, equilibrium income identity, we have consumption, we have investment, we have government spending, and we have also tax. What happens is that the sign, or maybe I can just write, okay, it's fine. Maybe I'll write it as we go. What happens is that the more, or an increase in one of these three components of GDP, which are consumption, investment, and government spending, is going to impact positively our GDP, or is going to increase also our GDP. So what basically happens is that if we need to increase our production, okay, we ought to increase government spending, or the government should increase their government spending. So I would just say government should increase G. All right. 2, we know that if we have a tax rate and the tax rate is high, okay, if the tax rate is high, that suggests that basically the economic agents can be either consumers or investors or producers. All right, all of these people are going to be taxed like so much. If they're taxing them so much, this suggests on the other hand that their purchasing power parity is in that moment decreasing. If the purchasing power parity is decreasing, they cannot afford in going to the goods market and buy as much goods as they can, or as they desire, or they wish, or they want. All right. In that moment, we are saying that our GDP is decreasing, or our economy is going down. All right, because consumption is decreasing. If consumption decreases, the GDP is going to decrease anyway. Production is going to decrease anyway. So for the government to make sure, this we call it fiscal policy, for the government to make sure that consumption is increasing, or to make sure that the production is increasing, they need to lower a bit the tax rate in order for them, the government, to make the purchasing power part of the consumers or investors or producers be a little bit high, or to make the affordability of them be a little bit high. If this happens, we know that it's going to increase basically our production. So summarizing, we can just say the government should decrease or lower tax. Very good. This is basically what the government can do in order for it to make sure that production is increasing, all right, or something like that, all right. So let's go. Question 3. Very good. This is going to be our last question in the first part, all right, so that we don't make this video so long. It says, assume a simple economy with only consumption, investment, and government. All right. Further, suppose income equals to 1,000. The marginal propensity to save. The marginal propensity to save, I'm just highlighting this, is equal to 0.4. Autonomous consumption is equal to 100. Investment is equal to 8. And government spending is equal to 100. And tax rate equals to 100. A, calculate the size of the expenditure multiplier. Very good. So here we're going to say A is to determine M. We know that M is equal to, I will just write here the division line. M, depending on the economy or whether is big or small, M can change, It is going to be equal to 1 minus C. And we know that C stands for MPC. Okay, MPC, which is marginal propensity to consume. All right, but then this formula, it applies when the given is not marginal propensity to save, but then is the marginal propensity to consume. However, our activity is giving us not marginal propensity to consume, but marginal propensity to save. And we know that marginal propensity to save is equal to 1 minus C. So that means we are here just going to say over marginal propensity to save, MPS. Very good. So we can say here, this implies that it's going to be equal to, I will just write the division line, is going to equal to 1 over 0.4. 1 over 0.4. And this is equal to 2. No, it's equal to 2.5. Very good. This is equal to 2.5. So this is the size of the multiplier. All right. All right. Maybe I can add here something else. The reason why our multiplier is just equal to 1 divided by 1 minus C is because our tax rate, we just have the autonomous tax. We don't have the tax that depends on income. All right. If we had that, marginal propensity to tax, that means our multiplier will be different. It will be 1 divided by 1 minus C, 1 minus T. But this I can show as we go. Okay, let's move forward. B says calculate the equilibrium income. Very good. Here we know that our y, okay, I'll just write determine y. Y is equilibrium income, and y is equal to m multiplied by autonomous consumption. Very good. And I will just write here, we know that autonomous consumption or autonomous spending, either way, is equal to C, like autonomous consumption, plus investment, autonomous as well, plus government spending, which is a given value, minus marginal propensity to consume multiplying our T, which is the tax. This basically is derived from the disposable income. All right. In our next tutorial, or in part 2 of this tutorial, I will show how does it come, or how does it appear. All right. So this is going to be equal to 100 plus 80 plus 100, if I'm not mistaken, minus 0.6 multiplying 100. Why 0.6? Maybe we need to work this out. 0.6 is the marginal propensity to consume. However, it's not a given value. They gave us a marginal propensity to save, which is equal to 0.4. All right, and we know that, I'll just use this. We know that, okay, let me just bring it here. Okay, very good. We know that marginal propensity to consume plus marginal propensity to save should be equal to 1, right? So if we have MPS, maybe I can just say here, then marginal propensity to consume is going to be equal to 1 minus marginal propensity to save, which is known, is 0.4. So it is going to be equal to 0 minus 0.4, and it should be equal to 0.6. So this is 0.6 is the one that we are basically using here. So this is going to be equal to 208, and 0.6 times 100 should be equal to 60. So that means we'll have 208 minus 60. This should be equal to 220. Very good. So now we have our autonomous spending or autonomous consumption. That means we can just plug it in. Here we have 2.5 times 220, and this should be equal to 550. This should be equal to 550. Very good. So C, it says, I'll just say C, determine, let's go and see what does it say. Very good. Calculate the disposable income. Determine the disposable zero income. Very good. Or I can just write the YD. We know that YD, or just right here, is equal to Y minus T. Just to call the attention, all right, our T is, if we determine this, or if we extend it a little bit, this should be equal to YD should be equal to Y minus, I'll just open the bracket, right? T minus T, plus Ty. However, since we don't have this part here, we just have the big Y, all right? Our disposable income is going to be simply YD is going to be Y minus T. And YD is going to be equal to 550 minus 100. And this should be equal to, our YD should be equal to 450. Very good. This is our YD, all right? So D says, imagine or suppose that autonomous consumption increases by 110. Calculate the new income level following the increase in consumption. Very good. Here we have two things. One, it can be an increase to, or it can be an increase by. In this case, it's an increase by. That means we're just going to add up into what we had first. So instead of autonomous consumption being 100, it's going to be 210. All right? An increase of C by 110. Very good. So we are just going to determine the new equilibrium rate, right? Then I'll just deselect. I will do this. I will copy, and I will come here. Oh God. I will come here. I will come here. I will say equals to. I'll just pass. Okay, very good. I will just say C plus I plus G minus CT. And this should be equal to 210, all right, 210 plus 80 plus 100 minus 0.6 multiplying 100. There we go. Here we have, very good. This is going to be 300, 390. Okay, this is going to be equal 330. So the new equilibrium is going to be Y equals to M, which is the same, multiplied by A. Make sure that this is autonomous, right? Maybe we can just write it that this is autonomous. Very good. So y is going to be equal to 2.5 times 330, and this should be equal to 825. Very good. This is the new equilibrium income due to an increase of autonomous consumption by 110 rands, Very good. Did you like our part 1 of this tutorial? Don't miss out the part 2 of it and make sure that you complete it. Thank you. See you in the second part of this tutorial. Bye.